Welcome. Welcome to today's webinar about assortment management in LS Nav. My name is Martin Kleindl. I'm a product director at LS Retail and I'm responsible for LS Fashion and Replenishment. In this webinar, we will cover the different methods how to manage assortments in LS Nav. We will touch base existing approaches, but put special focus on the item and store hierarchy relations approach, which is a recently added functionality for assortment building. This webinar will be recorded, and we will send you the link to the recording after the webinar. I will take questions at the end of the session. Please use the chat window in the GoToWebinar tool to send me your questions, comments, and feedback. If there is not enough time to cover all the questions at the end, I will respond to you via email afterwards. As announced, our yearly main conference called Connection will not take place in the usual shape and form in 2018. Instead, we intend to bring you the value of connection throughout the year. We are happy to offer you this webinar as part of Connection Online and urge you to stay tuned for more trainings and material. Having this said, let's dive in the details and have a look at assortment management in LS Nav. What are assortments? Assortments are the collection of goods that a business provides to consumers at a certain period of time. So this defines the items we need to have in the stores in order to sell them. And assortment management is the process and the used tools to create and maintain the assortment by defining active goods and assigning them to specific entities, which are the stores in our case. Assortment management is part of the replenishment suite, which is fully integrated in LS Nav. When we work with assortments, we can face a couple of challenges. First, the amount of data, which is defined by the number of items and the number of stores. I supported a partner in an implementation project for a car spare parts dealer some time ago. This company had more than 15,000 active items in their stores. Imagine this number. Those stores were more like small mini warehouses. In grocery supermarkets, it's not uncommon to have 10,000 to 15,000 items in the assortment. And we see the same with the stores. The more stores and the more variations we have in between the stores, the more challenging and complex the task of managing assortments get. And then we have complexity. Today's customers are more demanding than ever. They expect to get the products they want in their favorite stores. Local differences in the store assortment have become a normality in the meanwhile. Grocery stores, for example, have products from local farmers or producers. In fashion stores, differences in the assortment due to regional differences are a normality. And we see this behavior also in other retail industries. And then we see also fast changing assortments. Life cycles are becoming shorter and shorter. Fashion, electronics are the most extreme examples, but we see it in other places too. And then we need to cover all kinds of exceptions. So, what do we want to achieve? First, we want to reduce your operational cost by squeezing the time spent for creating and maintaining assortments. Second, we want to help you to get a better grip on the assortment by better visualization of the relations and dependencies. And last but not least, we want to reduce the risk of failure by enabling you to reuse existing assortments and store historical assortments. So you can have multiple versions of your assortment and switch between those. Let's have a look on the different approaches, how LS Nav supports you in the process of creating assortments. We have three approaches. First, we have grading. Then we have the store groups and store approach. And finally, our new approach, hierarchy relations. But let us start with grading. When we define assortments with the grading approach, we go through two steps. First, we group our stores into different sizes. In my example, we have small, medium, and large stores, and we have assigned our 4 stores to those 3 groups. In the grading approach, we use grades to represent those store groups. So, grade A represents the large stores, B the medium stores, and C the small stores. Of course, we can have more than 3 grades. Those grades can be understood in a way how we sell our items. Let's assume we operate grocery stores, so we sell food products. In our small stores, the items are placed in shelves, and we find there canned food, frozen food, and pre-packed food. In our medium stores, we have the shelves, and additionally, we sell over the counter. Here our staff slices cheese, sausage, and ham on request for the customers. In our large stores, we have the shelves, sell over the counter, and have additionally a gourmet corner where we sell delicatessen products like high quality fresh fish or meat. For our example, let's assume we have only 3 items in our assortment. We have pre-packed sausage, Parma ham, which is sold in thin slices, and we have expensive Kobe or Wagyu beef. So now let us combine our items with the stores. In our small stores, we only sell the pre-packed sausage and it's located in the shelves. In our medium stores, we sell the sausage and the Parma ham. In our large stores, with the gourmet corner, we sell the sausage, the ham, and the beef. So what we can do, we can also assign grades to the items. An item with grade A is sold in stores with grade A only. An item with grade B is sold in stores with grade B and A. And an item with grade C is sold in stores with grade C, B, and A. Using this rule, we can easily define an assortment by assigning grades to stores and items. In LS NAV, this is done on the location card in the fast tab replenishment. We assign the proper grade in the field default replenishment grade code. For items, we do the setup on the retail item card in the fast tab merchandising. We assign the proper grade in the field replenishment grade code. Please note that those fields are only visible if you have selected item category grade in the replenishment setup. Let's recap what we have seen. Grading is a straightforward concept. It's transparent and easy to understand, and it comes with low maintenance effort and cost. The disadvantage of grading is that it should be only used in scenarios without exceptions. So, for simple scenarios, it is extremely easy, simple, and fast to use this approach. And I would always recommend to use it if you don't have any exceptions. Let's have a look at our second approach, store groups and stores. In this approach, we define for every single item in which stores this specific item is available. In my example, the shirt is assigned to the first 3 stores, but not to the last one. And we do the setup for all our items, one by one. This gives us full flexibility, and we can create all types of scenarios and exceptions if needed. We have introduced store groups to reduce the maintenance effort and to make the setup more easy. A store group combines stores with the same behavior, and we can assign items to store groups. Of course, it is possible to assign an item, like the toaster in this example, to store groups and stores at the same time. In LS NAV, this setup is done on the retail item card in the fast-tab distribution. There, we assign the store groups and stores to the item. In this example, the item is assigned to the store group Fashion and the store S0013. We can see in the smaller page, which contains the store group setup, that the store group Fashion contains two stores, S004 and S003. Please note that you have to select store groups in the replenishment setup to activate this approach. So let's recap again what we have seen. The store group and store approach gives you full flexibility and allows all types of setup, exceptions, regional products, high variance in store assortments. You can do it all. The strength of this approach is also its weakness. The maintenance effort can be quite high in scenarios with a lot of items and exceptions. And then it can become difficult to still see the big picture, which items are assigned to which stores. Nested groups are not supported, so you cannot have store groups within store groups. This approach is the perfect fit if we have complex scenarios, including regional products and exceptions. And then we have our new approach, assortments based on hierarchy relations. This approach builds on top of the store group and store approach. Again, we start with our stores. And again, we put our stores into groups. But this time, this is a multi-level hierarchy. A hierarchy is a flexible tree structure, and it can have unlimited levels. In my example, I have built a hierarchy based on regions and countries. But you are totally free how to set this up. This could also be based on store size or store types or any combination of that all. Let's call this a store hierarchy. Similar to the store hierarchy, we can also build item hierarchies. This is not division, item, category, and product group. This is again the multi-level hierarchy, but this time we have assigned items to it. Okay, so we have two hierarchies. How we are supposed to use them? Let's assume we want to create an assortment in which all stores in Europe have meat products in their assortment. When we create such a relation, this will affect all stores within the group Europe and all items within the group meat. Due to the inheritance, all stores in Spain, Italy, Iceland and Sweden will have beef, pork and chicken products in their assortment. With one single relation, we created a lot of detailed relation. If we compare this with the store group and store approach, we would have created relations for the first item in the chicken group, then for the second item in the chicken group, then for the third one, and then we would have continued with the pork and the beef. So here we are just relating the groups, and this will save you a lot of time in the assortment building process. Of course, we can have multiple relations in parallel when we create those assortments. I am quite sure that you now ask yourself if we can have also exclusions in this approach, meaning that we take out items from our built assortment. Let's imagine we want to exclude the beef product group from our current assortment, but only for the North European stores. We can create an exclusion rule between groups, and all stores and items below those groups will inherit this setting automatically. So it's far more transparent to our users what rules we have set up compared to the store groups and stores approach. This is how the hierarchy relation page looks like in LS Nav. But let me show you this in live action. Hierarchies and hierarchy relations can be found in LS Retail, back office, product design, and here we have our hierarchies and the hierarchy relations. The hierarchies are grouped into item hierarchies and store hierarchies. And we can see this in the field type, which kind we have in front of us. Let's have a look into this item hierarchy. This hierarchy viewer shows us this tree that I've been talking about in the PowerPoint slide. It can have unlimited levels, and it's up to you how you define this grouping. So here for this food products, I have here food, meat, fish, dairy. But for this fashion products, I have also introduced brands like this Linda brand and Elsa brand and styles. So it's up to you how you define your assortment on the items. We have a fast tab which gives us some information about the hierarchy. And in the lower area of that screen, we see the items that are linked to the specific groups. So this milk group contains of those detailed items. How are we adding items to a group? We can add it here manually, or we can use a report which allows us to do some mass insert and mass updates. It's very easy to maintain those hierarchy tree. For example, here in our dairy group, we have milk and cheese, but I would like to add a group for butter. So I add a new child node, and this is called butter and butter. And for this butter group, we want to have a further differentiation between low fat and normal fat. So I add another level. Low fat, and then I create a sibling, and this is normal, just normal. We can move this group up with the buttons move up and move down, and by doing that you can create your own specific sort order within the hierarchy. So now let's add some items to this group. We could add it in the hierarchy node link subpage, but I want to use the report. So I click on add items, and here I can filter on various fields for the item, and I will just select the product group for my butter products I have in the database. And since this is normal fat, I also want to differentiate and filter on this one. And here I can use the attributes. So I can filter on this attribute containing fat and select normal. And I could also filter on special groups or on other hierarchy trees, so I can copy from one tree to the other. Let's press OK, and the system added this item for me. So we can add items here from the hierarchy page. We can also do the same from the retail item card and the retail item list. On the retail item list, in the menu actions, we have this function items to hierarchies, and this is used to add items to specific hierarchies. We have this also on the retail item card. But let's go back to our hierarchies. Let's have a look at the store hierarchy. The store hierarchy has the same concept as the item hierarchy. In this example, I've built a hierarchy on regions and on countries, Iceland, Sweden, Austria, Germany, and then I have also some cities in there. And below those cities, I have my specific stores. The concept is totally the same. The only difference is that I have here stores in the link page and not items. I could do a totally different setup, and this setup could be based on store sizes. Like in this example, I have here my big, medium and small stores, and I can also have franchise stores. So we are also supporting the franchise concept, and then we are working with customers and customer groups. So the hierarchies are very easy to maintain. It's easy to set them up. To manage our assortments, we use the hierarchy relations. A hierarchy relation is combining an item hierarchy and a store hierarchy. And whenever we work with hierarchies, we can start from scratch. But what we usually do is we create a copy of the existing assortment. Then we start to work and maintain this, and then we can activate it. So we have always the possibility to go back to our previous assortment, and we have our historical assortments available whenever we need this. To create a copy, we use the copy hierarchy relations function. But let's have a look into the assortment itself. In the assortment, we see two trees. We see a tree to the left. In this case, this is the stores tree. And on the right, we see our items. We remember in the PowerPoint page, I had those arrows which were connecting the groups. Those groups are called relation entries. And I see here that in this example, I have already 10 relations built up. And this is my history, my log. I can always see when was this relation created, who created it, and I can also assign comments. So I can track later on why I introduced this fish group assortment to a specific store. So I can always have this kind of information. But how are we working with those assortments? To show this, I will start from scratch and remove all existing locations from this assortment. And what we will do, we will start with the same example that we have seen on the PowerPoint slides. We want to create an assortment for our European stores in the north and for our meat product. So I just mark both nodes and click on Add Relation. And we see that we created a relation, and the groups below the meat group inherited the setting. The check mark in the active field indicates that now the items here are in the assortment. We can do the same for the fish products and for our dairy products. So it's very easy to create those relations. If I'm interested to see which items are behind that, I can activate the detail view by clicking this check mark. Now I see the items that are below this group, and I can also do the same for the stores. We can also create exclusions. So for example, for our store in Reykjavik, in Iceland, we don't have cheese products in the assortment, and I can create this exclusion rule, and I'll see here the check mark disappears, so all the items below the cheese group are not available in the assortment anymore. So you could say now, Martin, this is very nice, beautiful, but you know, we like to work from the items to the stores, so the other way around. Then this is very easy to do. We can switch the views with the reverse left and right hierarchy viewer. So now I have my items on the left and the stores to the right. And this enables me to do the following. I can again show the details. And if I select this milk product, I see immediately in which regions, countries, cities, and stores the item is available. So I have always the view from both sides. When I'm fine with the setup, then I want to activate this assortment. And to activate this assortment, this is done with the update item distribution function. This is the manual update, and this will be done immediately. And then we have also the possibility to use the scheduler job, the LS Retail Scheduler, to update the assortment when the starting date becomes valid. So assortment planning is very easy now. we work on group level and we can inherit this down and we can have multiple exceptions. So let's go back to our slide deck and let's revisit our goals and what we wanted to achieve with the hierarchy-based assortment management. First, operational cost reduction. With the new hierarchy-based approach with inheritance and exclusions, assortments can be created and maintained in far less time than before. It is still allowing you to build the most complex rules, but now with an easy and simple to use interface. Second, transparency. With the new relation viewer, it is easy to understand the setup assortment rules and dependencies. Comments allow you to document changes for later review. And third, risk reduction. The new functionality allows you to manage multiple versions of your assortments, and with the copy feature, you can reuse existing or historical assortments. You can create assortments with a future date and activate those assortments manually, or let the LS Retail scheduler do the job for you. You can always switch back to a stored historical assortment if you detect an error in the current one. So, this was the overview of the tools we provide in LS NAV to manage assortments. From simple to complex, you can cover it all. And with the latest improvements, the maintenance has become much more easy. So, thank you very much for attending this webinar. It was a pleasure having you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in one of the next replenishment related webinars, which will be about planned sales demand, how we integrate budgets and discount offers with automatic replenishment, and the other one about advanced budgeting and open to buy. Detailed dates will be communicated. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye-bye.